In about 2 hours we'll be reaching Yangtze. Oh, we are doing good. Okay guys, we are 2 hours away from Yangtze for a hot shower.
Oh.
You promise?
You want to see some people running?
In the summer of 2006, a small group of people from various parts of the world came together for a journey into Tibet, China. This trip was led by Achi Seppel, CEO of the Children of Tibet Trust Foundation. Achi founded the CTTF in 1989 to help young Tibetans residing in their homeland aspire to their full potential through providing higher education and better health standards. Presently, in many Tibetan regions, the Chinese government is providing new schools to educate Tibetan children in the primary levels. In 1959, when Ashi was only 5, he escaped with his family into India. Of the 30 families that fled up the Drikang Valley and into the mountains, only Achis made it over and into India. They eventually left the refugee camp and were settled in a Tibetan exile community in southern India. Here, Achi received an excellent education at the Weinberg Allen School in Mussoorie with many other Tibetan refugee children. Following his graduation, Achi Seppel served as translator for and became a student of the 16th Chalwa Karmapa of the Kagyu sect of Tibetan Buddhism. He traveled the world for 7 years, meeting UN delegates, politicians, and various spiritual leaders. Each year, Ashi returns to his homeland, taking small groups of travelers interested in exploring this region of the planet that is so unique in its breadth, beauty, and cultural heritage, and to see for themselves how the foundation is presently serving the Tibetan community. Our journey into the Tibetan region of China began in Lhasa, where we visited the Potala Monastery, Yohang Monastery, and Norbalinka Monastery. From Lhasa, we traveled on a westerly route for 9 days right across Tibet into Kathmandu, Nepal. On the way, we stayed in the Drikang Valley for 4 days on the land where Achi was born. Achi believed all his life that the family that took him out of Tibet was his own mother and father. Only a few years ago, when he was over 40, did Achi discover that his true biological mother was still living in the Drikang Valley, where he was born, and that she had handed 2 little boys to her sister when she took flight up the Drikang Valley in 1959. Achi's mother had been pregnant and had a sick husband and was unable to flee into India at that time. The family that raised Achi was his aunt and uncle. Learning this prompted Achi to return to Tibet, now part of China, to reunite with his birth mother. On this visit, he was inspired to establish the foundation with the intention to assist present-day children of Tibet to maintain Tibetan culture and Tibetan heritage through attaining a higher education. His remarkable family have expanded their home and developed a wonderful hostel for travelers to stay. Here, the group had opportunities to experience a taste of nomadic life by sleeping in yak tents and eating in traditional Tibetan houses. These experiences served as a respite, allowing the group to visit some remote schools the Children of Tibet Trust Foundation presently supports.
They got to sing or something.
Great. Upon arrival at the school, teachers showed their appreciation of the visit by honoring the group with traditional white scarves, in Tibetan called katas.
We were greeted by a crowd of incredibly eager, obviously extremely bright children who, all of them, right down to the smallest one, had songs memorized. And I'm not doing this very well. I had no idea I was going to do this. I'm sorry.
Nice.
Anyway, they were just really lovely, eager, obviously bright kids.
The children brought joy to the travelers with their eagerness in singing Tibetan folk songs of the region.
And then to find out that every year when the state test is given, of this large group of children, I'm not sure how many would take the test every year, I would guess 30 or 40. Only 1 or 2 does well enough on the state test to be allowed to go beyond 6th grade.
At the second school, the Mamba Primary School, the group were welcomed by one of the teachers and taken on a tour of a new greenhouse.
Who's a local school teacher here. This is the primary school, 250 students, and till the 6th grade. And this is the primary school for the Mamba district. Now, in the background, you will see that they are actually demolishing and they're going to put a lot of the new structure in place, which is basically funded by the government. We have had our first major project here, which we will see later, and that's the greenhouse project. Last year, we donated about $3,000, and I'm told that it's complete.
Boy, that's impressive.
Yep, they've just started using the greenhouse. They had this project, but they were completely they were stuck because they had no water.
Right.
They could not use, so their purpose was to have a greenhouse to grow fresh vegetables for the children. So this is also the project from Children of Trust Foundation. They managed to bring this water here to the school. This is the 4th grade here in Mamba Primary School, and they're about, the 6th grade they have gone further for an exam, but there are 2 classes, so this is the 4th grade class.
The conditions of the school seem to our eyes to be extremely bare. It's very dry there, even the field, their playing field, is very bare. The classrooms seem very bare. There's nothing on the walls that we might expect to see in any school that we've been in the West. But as you can see in their faces, their spirits are full and so individual and dynamic, and we had so much fun with them. They're full of joy with very little, but they could do with some more.
The next day, the group went up to watch the chum dancers perform.
So we are approaching the main seat of the Digung Kagyu lineage of Tibetan Buddhism. And these are actually little stores that's being established for the great occasion for here, the chum. The Digung chum is world famous. It's considered one of the most wonderful artistic talent and gift that they have. So we are now sort of approaching the entrance of the monastery. But these are the faces of the folks that have come from the surrounding villages. They've all come to actually get the blessings of the occasion today and to see the chum. The chum is a time not only a great religious festival, but it also is like a great social event.
Does everybody know it's 12 o'clock because I got It's a good plan.
Most monasteries have been or are being restored for tourist reasons, yet they clearly still function as retreat centers for Buddhist studies and practice.
The Turton Rinpoche, who was a guy we saw in an open shirt with a t-shirt showing and a leather cowboy hat, little movie camera, filming the Lama dances. No robe, no entourage, just a guy leaning in against the rail. And Achi said, that guy is a Rinpoche, and he's the one that dances this delicate dance with the Chinese and the Tibetans. And because of him, this whole temple, which was rubble, many of even the building materials carried away to build houses in the village, like gone, no monks, no buildings. Here we have this great monastery again, because he raised the money, he encouraged the people. So about 2 or 3 times I walked by and, said hello, Tashi Dele, and made eye-to-eye contact. And each time, the beaming, smile, joyful energy coming from this guy was just so inspiring that any obstacles in my life, I don't have anything in my life quite like the temples are torn down and all the monks are gone. We've all got obstacles to overcome. But this guy just calmly danced his way through, creating an entire institution with no glory to him. Just incredibly inspiring.
Before our departure from this amazing valley, we experienced the Poa, or sky burial, located above the Drikang Monastery.
It was just an amazing unfolding. Like many in our group, I felt an initial aversion to the scent, that's a euphemism for stench, of the corpses. It was very clear it was like a pattern or a mandala. The corpses were in the middle of the stone circle, and the yogi was preparing them, slicing them to make it easier for the vultures to eat. There was a row of 4, I think, helpers pounding the bones of the previous bodies to feed smaller birds. And the yogi was in very nice finery with brocade, etc., but he had a very heavy bib overalls, coveralls thing to protect his fine clothing from the blood of his work. And I noticed our group, initially was making faces like with great, oh God, what am I doing here? And then as we relaxed into it, gradually becoming a little more comfortable with our own mortality. For me and for several people, recent loved ones that died kind of came to mind, and another chance to offer them up just as the offering. Around the pattern was just a pack of more than 100 very huge vultures. I think nobody's had a turkey dinner with a bird as big as any of these vultures. And there was a line of men in front of them holding them back as the yogi prepares the body. And they're, looking and venturing forward. And after a while of just being with the ritual of preparing the corpses, I felt myself drawn around past the stupa and chapel, and I took a place in the middle of the line of guys holding back the vultures. So I look behind me and see the bodies being prepared, and I think some of the details were a little too gruesome for sharing out of context. But in that context, it didn't seem gruesome. It was, Achi told us that giving up one's body to the birds is the final, ultimate act of generosity. And it sure is environmentally sound, because your whole body, doesn't get burned or, spend a lot of money on coffins and things. You're going right back into the ecosystem. If I think of all of that stuff as part of the jacket that just got dropped in the joy of the moment, or the laughing as the vultures stampeded, or the great deep joy in the yogi's eyes, there's a beautiful space. That there's nothing you say about it that represents it, but you just notice that it's there. And my hope is that that space will show up, that we'll carry these experiences out into our daily life back home, and it'll be of some benefit to the people around us.